Save our home.
No demolition.
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 Save our home. Save our home. Save our home.
Right, but I know.
Save our home.
No demolition. No demolition. No demolition.
Save Section 9!
No demolition.
Save Section 9! Save Section 9!
Save our home.
No demolition.
Save Section 9!
No demolition. No demolition. Wonderful day.
If you can hear me, clap 3 times. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to be here with you.
No, come on, man. Is that a little late? We're starting.
That you might know. If not, I'm going to run through it. Simple check. When public housing is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like that.
One more time. When public housing is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like that.
When public housing is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like that.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marquise Jenkins, and I am here today standing in solidarity with the residents of Fulton houses and Elliott Chelsea houses. Today we are not here to be polite. We are not here to be patient. We came here today to make demands. The residents of public housing always have to be at the decision-making table.
Save Section 9!
The residents of public housing understand all of the critical problems that exist in public housing. We are dying because of the conditions in our homes. But today we fight not just for the brick and mortar. Today we fight for the rights and protections. Residents that came before us fought for the 964 rules and regulations. Those rules and regulations guarantees residents a seat at the table.
Guaranteed.
Now, the residents, NYCHA came to the residents in 2019, and they asked the residents, what should we do to solve the problems here at Fulton and Elliott Chelsea houses? They formed a working group. On that working group were organizations like CSS, legal institutions like the Legal Aid Society, our elected officials like Gail Brewer. All of these individuals came together with the residents and they came up with a plan. They came up with a plan to rehabilitate those developments. They do not, I repeat, they do not need to be torn down. So we say no demolition! So if the residents have made a choice for rehabilitation, why has the plan changed?
Why?
Why has the place changed? Why is demolition on the table?
Why?
I tell you why. Because we have a mayor who is friendly to private developers.
Very criminalistic.
In the time of our darkness, and as I mentioned, our residents are dying in public housing. Our mayor, NYCHA, and private developers see a paycheck.
Yes, don't forget the councilman.
Chelsea houses,
Congressman.
Fulton houses, happens to sit right in one of the most wealthiest neighborhoods.
Land grab.
Land grab, that's right.
Money grab too.
So residents, they are asking residents to give up 75%. 75% of their land.
That's Alexa. That's a hero. Doc. I
They're
like
asking residents to give up 75% of their land so that they can get the quality housing that they are already entitled to. But don't just take it from me.
I know.
Don't just take it from me. I am not a resident of Fulton or Elliott Chelsea houses. I'm an organizer who stepped up to help. You need to hear from the people who are directly impacted and the people who are directly responsible for all of you coming out here today. This is a resident-led movement. And as I tell you, they are not here to ask. We are here to make it clear that we will not allow you to demolish our homes. And to bring that message to you, first and foremost, I bring you a resident, Salinas Miranda.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. I didn't expect all the support. We are gathered here today to let NYCHA, HUD, and public officials know that the residents of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea houses stand against the demolition of our homes.
No demolition.
We reject the proposed demolition plans from NYCHA, Essence, and related companies. We have gathered the signatures of 920 residents who oppose the demolition of our public housing. Our petition proves that we are the majority.
That's right.
We are vulnerable in the hands of private developers who see the land that we live on as dollar signs.
That's right.
Related companies has no right to push demolition plans on our thriving community. We are not a business deal.
That's right.
FEC tenants know that this proposal is a scam pushed on us against our will. We never voted for a demolition.
Never.
And we never voted for RAD, nor PAC, nor any type of privatization. 920 tenants will not be silent. We are imploring, we are insisting, and we stand firm against demolition. We have the following demands. Number one, we call on the mayor and Eric Botcher, our city council member, to stand with the majority of the residents and reject the proposed demolition of our homes. Number two, we call on NYCHA to drop the demolition plans and rescind their application to HUD. And number three, we call on HUD to reject any application they may receive from NYCHA to demolish and privatize our homes. Our rights as public housing residents must be protected and enforced.
demolition. Fight, fight, fight.
Let's talk about this survey. Let's talk about it, right? Because NYCHA went around to the builders with these beautiful plans, telling residents they were going to get more police, telling residents new kitchens, shiny new stainless steel appliances.
Wow.
Never mentioned not one time in that survey that they presented to residents demolition.
Don't forget the zoning and
The word was completely missing. And on top of that, what is a representative number of the residents of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea? Because only a small, minute portion of people filled out that survey.
Did they know what they were
And did
filling
they
out?
even know what they were filling out?
Exactly.
So a sham of a process. The residents are not confused. They want their homes fixed. They want the repairs. But they shouldn't have to give up 75% of their land to get the quality services that they are already entitled to. But don't take it from me. Let's hear from more of our residents. Renee, please come up and say
Thank you for being here today. This is the fight of our lives. The fact that we are under Section 9 allows us to stand and fight for my home. We are now the majority, 920 residents. That surpasses the 550 out of 3,338. That's 18%. Questions need to be asked instead of just doing what everyone says and following what they say. Think about what has been said. With Section 9, with rent capped at 30% of my income, that has allowed me to maintain long-standing community ties, like my neighbor who checks on me to make sure that I've made it home safe at night. Very few people have that. She calls me her other daughter. That is beautiful. Demolition threatens more than just buildings.
That's right.
It threatens the very social fabric that keeps our community strong and supportive. Section 9 building has been the cornerstone of housing stability. Families in New York City, the transition to project-based Section 8 through PACT unravels these protections. You know, we will not return. The residents do not win. We are not to be accompanied down, subjected to related companies and their unbelievable greed. Major developments like Carver, East River, Thomas Jefferson, DeWitt Clinton, and Frederick Douglass houses have already been exploited for profit by related companies. We are next in line. This demolition signals a return to the days of separate but equal, as we are crammed into 30% of our existing space. The equities of Plessy v. Ferguson and the allotment designed to dispossess Native people resonates in this current situation. We are being sold out in the name of profit, and our community is being decimated. People are leaving now because of fear and trauma about the lies that continue to be told. They should all be ashamed of themselves. We cannot allow the legacy of our homes and the bonds between our neighbors to be torn apart. Demolition will displace residents and lead to a long-lasting fracture of our community. Our quality of life will be destroyed. This fight is not over, and we must demand justice, transparency, and a real solution that works for us. One thing I want to say, that survey and the packet was delayed because it was in the mayor's office. We need to ask, what has been really going on and how far this has gone? We need to ask that question. Remember, Jesse Williams, the man who deals with real estate, his phone was taken. We need to remember this at all times. What is being sold? It cannot be us. It should not be us. We demand no demolition. And Miguel, we saw you here earlier in the day. You're skulking around somewhere. Thank you for joining us. the resident association president of Elliott Houses, who comes when Miguel calls her and says, we are all for it. The mayor's for it. The city officials are for it. You need to ask why. And you need to ask now. Jackie!
Public housing is under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
President, elect Jackie.
We need to ask the individuals that is doing this investigation on Mayor Eric Adams to include what is going on in public housing in that investigation. When it comes to RAD, the rental assistance demonstration program, only a handful of developers are allowed to participate. Are they giving the mayor a kickback so that they can have access to public housing? We're talking about land that is situated next to some of the best restaurants you could ever eat at. We're talking about land that is situated next to public transportation.
Absolutely.
We are talking about valuable land, and all they see is dollar signs. Dollar signs. And NYCHA is doing everything that they can to make this deal go through, including interfering with resident leadership. We have a resident here today who is saying, no, I'm fed up. And she is willing to step up and take leadership. She's got a plan, right? She's got a plan for you all. She's gonna make sure you stay in your apartment. She is relentless, she is fearful, and she is NYCHA's worst nightmare. Ladies, Jackie Law.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for showing up. I've been here for 22 years, and this situation has made me beyond devastated. My home is being taken away from me, and there's no promise what comes next in our future. The residents of our community firmly deny the proposed demolition of our homes that has multiple generations and family. And I want my family to continue to be in that generation. Over 920 signatures and still counting of residents that don't want demolition. Let me say that again. That don't want demolition.
No demolition.
The plan is to displace 5,000 people from 22 buildings, only to consolidate them in 2 to 3 buildings. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. We stand against the destruction of 75% of our green spaces and the loss of 370 mature trees that is supposed to be urban forest to Eric Botcher, and which it is vital to our environment and well-being. Moreover, the idea of cramming us into 30% of current space to make way for 3,500 luxury apartments is an insult to our community. I believe I'm going to give the elected officials the benefit of the doubt that the plan was all crap to them. They don't know what's really going on, even though they do. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they've been misinformed about what's going on in Fulton and Chelsea, okay? We call on our city leaders and NYCHA to reconsider this plan and work toward an equitable solution that benefits everyone, not just the developers. That's right. Thank you.
No demolition. No demolition.
They can't hear you. They can't hear you. Louder.
No demolition.
Louder.
No demolition.
Louder.
No demolition. No demolition. No demolition.
here. We are here. We are not going to allow the elected officials to speak for us. We are not going to allow NYCHA to speak for us. We are not going to allow HUD to speak for us. The residents are here. We have representation from organizations like NYCHA. Let me hear you, NYCHA.
No demolition.
We got organizations here like Save Section 9. We got organizations here like good old Lower East Side. We got organizations here like the Isaac Holmes Coalition. And our allies from Chelsea who live across the street are also here. Because we unite. We unite in our voice that this is not just about having shiny new stainless steel appliances.
Right, shiny.
This is about protecting the rights, the 964 rules and regulations, the right to organize, the right to have space to organize in, the right to have funding, the right to self-management.
Right.
That is the goal. That is the goal and what we are fighting for. Now, I know I mentioned a couple of elected officials, but there's some good ones out there. And frankly, we lost one of them. Charles Barron has always been one of our key partners. If you know Charles Barron, well, my mother would say he ain't got no hair on his tongue. Right? Because he will say what needs to be said, and he will put action to what needs to be done. And so the people who stand with him and the people who stand beside him follow in the same practice. And so I am honored to call this next speaker to the table to give y'all some truth, right? From the perspective, I'm gonna put your name.
No, that's all right. Brother, that's what it is, brother. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Carol Gaturo. I'm here on behalf of Operation Power and former New York City Council member Charles Barron. He really wanted to be here, but unfortunately, due to a prior engagement, he couldn't be here. So I am going to do my best to try and channel him today. Now, we are here, and I always say we because we have allies too, to express our solidarity and support for FEC's Tenants Against Demolition. We know that yours has been a long struggle, and we know that NYCHA has not been absolutely honest with you because this should have been a tenant-led development. That has not been the case. We know that a majority of the tenants, over 900 tenants, have come out against this development.
Against demolition.
And so their voices should be heard, and their voices should lead the way. Because we know if NYCHA has their way, then there's going to be a sort of hyper-gentrification that leads to urban genocide. Yes. We can't have that. And we also know that this project is also problematic because the environmental concerns that come with it. Yes. We know that there's going to be issues with noise pollution, air pollution, and equally important is the removal of 350 trees. We know that's a problem because the tree canopy is important to the environmental goals of this city. So that cannot happen. Now on the last note, thank you. On the last note, we also want to object unequivocally the privatization of NYCHA's development.
Before you speak.
That should not happen at any point.
Oh, you're running out. No.
Because we know
Before you speak.
privatization leads to an increase in
Yeah, I got it.
market
The video.
rate
I got you.
housing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have an affordable housing crisis, why do you need market rate housing? Don't you need to address the affordable housing crisis with more affordable housing units? And so there you go. And so in this case, we know that folks who are living in market rate housing, they're not at risk of eviction.
They can afford those rates. But most of the people that live in NYCHA can't afford that kind of increase in their rent.
They're not coming back.
There you go. So we are not going to stand aside or stand by and let some of these things continue. We pledge our solidarity with you. I think that every tenant that has voiced their disconcern with this particular project, their voices should be heard, should be taken into consideration, and that collectively, they should be able to lead this particular program. And so with that said, I just want to say thank you so much. We are going to continue standing with you. We're going to fight with you. The struggle may be long, but the victory is certain. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just I made the 964 regs available for the public on my Facebook group.
No peace.
The 964 regs are available for the public.
No justice!
No peace.
I made the 964 regs available.
We are building a coalition far and wide. And the coalition is necessary to go beyond just public housing residents. As my brother just said, right?
Today, them, tomorrow, anybody
That's
else.
right.
Right.
Guess what? When you get rid of 176,000 families out of public housing, guess what? They're competing with you for your housing. And guess what? Developers know that. So they're going to allow you to compete so that they can raise those rents. Public housing is the model. We need to be fighting so that nobody in this city is paying more than 30%.
That's right.
We need to be fighting so that every resident has the right to organize. We need to be fighting so that every resident has the right to self-management. We need to take these principles from public housing and apply it to our whole logic about how we provide housing
That's right.
to our city's most vulnerable.
Yes.
But let's hear from some of our leaders, some of our allies, some of our strong, fierce fighters who are making that call today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Layla to the stand. Layla!
Thank you, Mark.
Pass the mic.
Look at this beautiful coalition that is coming out and fighting for public housing. My name is Layla Law-Glisko. I am the Democratic District Leader for Chelsea. Yeah, give it up for Chelsea. And let me tell you something. Chelsea stands strong with its public housing tenants. Chelsea is here. We have Midtown in the room. We have so many tenants and residents from our community. We are not going to stand for this plan because this plan is wrong. So I'm sure you've heard that the city is pushing this narrative that increasing housing supply is the way we're going to get out of this housing crisis. Right? All right, we're not buying this. This is not true. You can't build yourself out of this crisis. The crisis is a crisis of affordability. And that's what we need to keep. We need to keep housing affordable. And the gold standard is public housing. That's the gold standard. So we know that public housing is the shield against displacement. It is the shield against gentrification. Yes. And what has happened is that these homes of so many tenants have been deprived of the city and the government and the federal government's care. The disinvestment in these properties is to no fault of the tenants. It is of the fault of NYCHA themselves. That's right. They caused the disinvestment. The federal government caused the disinvestment. The tenants have been begging for repairs for the past 20 years. NYCHA is the agency that is responsible for not allocating proper funding to public housing. So NYCHA should have nurtured these places, and instead they allow them to decay. NYCHA, lawless steward of these homes, now stands before us, claiming that only the wrecking ball can fix what they let crumble.
Yes.
This is not acceptable.
City, state, and federal government.
2 years past, these very voices from NYCHA assured us, promised that there would be no demolition.
Well,
That refurbishment would govern, not destruction.
well,
How bitter it is now to hear these same voices speak of demolition. Those who have let Chelsea campuses wither for decades. And stand accused of their own inaction. And they now push to hand these homes over to private hands, claiming that, oh well, the sickness that they bring. So I ask you, why should we trust NYCHA now? No. This is an entity, by the way, that is under federal watch because they're doing such a poor job. Too broken to stand on their own feet, too dysfunctional to lead the charge of its own salvation. NYCHA and Related today claim that the Chelsea buildings are beyond repair.
that's a
That
lie.
they're cheaper to raise than to repair.
That's a lie.
And in their plan, they invite related companies to build towers of luxury,
That's all it is
market-rate
about.
apartments, squeezing out those who have long called these places home. And this new plan is hurted. It does not have the support of the tenants. It does not. And let me tell you, the entire Chelsea community, the entire Chelsea community, public housing tenants, operators, Layla in the room, who is a stalwart of community engagement, London Terrace, condo owners, co-op owners, you name it. Chelsea stands united against the demolition. Is a betrayal, and we will fight it until HUD, NYCHA, and our elected officials come to their senses and take it up. Thank you.
I am to speak to she's unconsenting. That's significant.
Are we weak?
No way.
Are we just gonna lay down and let them devour?
Diane, you're gonna get to speak.
We are a force
You deserve to
to
leaving?
be reckoned with. Make no mistake. I say this every Sunday on RPBH's call.
That's right.
176,000 families that live in public housing. That totals to roughly 400,000 that's on the books and probably another 400,000 unaccounted for.
That's right.
1%, just 1% of the public housing vote can determine who will be our governor. 1% of the public housing vote will determine who will be our mayor.
That's right.
Are y'all ready to fight with y'all vote? Are y'all ready to vote them out? Are y'all looking for elected officials who will do the job?
Support the people that put them in office. Councilman Bartram, Assemblyman
Organize.
Congressman Layla, they're all on the ballot. Early voting starts October 26th.
Because we organize, and we organize.
We organize again.
You know, I got my start as an organizer, working on the Lower East Side for one of the best organizations you will ever
You'll
come
get a job,
across.
not me.
Good old Lower East Side knew. That's why girls make some noise.
Some people get jobs, not you.
Good old Lower East Side knew about this fight. This fight has not just come this year. We have been fighting the disinvestment of public housing going all the way back to the Nixon administration. And guess what? We are still here.
I'm still here too.
Fighting.
Damn right.
We have lost public housing in Chicago.
I'm still here.
We have lost public housing in New Orleans.
Yeah.
We have lost public housing in Puerto Rico.
What about Florida, raising liberties?
But New York remains the largest public housing authority in the country because of the way we fight. So the residents rely on organizations like NYCHA, like Save Section 9, like the Residents to Preserve Public Housing, and like good old Lower East Side. So let's hear from Goals. To say a couple of words, we have Miss Angela Donadell.
We will not forget anybody. Hello, my name is Layla Donadell. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you sure you can hear me?
Yeah.
Just making sure. And I'm a public housing campaign manager for the good old Lower East Side. Goals has a deep history of advocating for the Lower East Side. We stand here today with the tenants of Fulton, Elliott, Chelsea, because their fight is our fight. Yeah. This is not just about one neighborhood. It is about the future of all our communities. All our communities. They may start here, but it won't end here. It won't. We must understand the pattern. What was once deemed undesirable waterfront property is now prime real estate.
Prime real estate.
Okay? First they target public housing. And soon after that, they will come after the rent control and rent stabilized homes. Will face the same fate.
That's right.
The demolition of these homes is this is a testament that it should not be allowed. I got lost in my words. And that this demolition will begin to spread. I want to just make one side comment from my notes. I've walked through Fulton, Chelsea, Elliott, and I've walked through several other public housing developments. I've been in public housing developments where the ceilings are coming down. I saw no level of disrepair.
That's right.
In Fulton, Elliott, Chelsea, like what I've seen in other developments, but yet they're not tearing them down. So the High Line, the community, let's talk about Google. Those are the reasons that we are here. This is not about the building.
Not about the
It's
building.
about erasing history, displacing long-term residents, and selling off the very communities that we built. Okay? We cannot let this happen. Black and brown. Lost myself again. I get so excited. Okay, what starts with NYCHA will impact all of us. We must stand united. Stand united, and we must stop them before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you. No demolition! 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 No demolition!
Earlier, I mentioned that we understand the severity, the urgency, and the need to do repairs. People are dying, right? It's not just we want a new paint job. People are literally dying in their homes. And I want you to hear a little bit about the impact in terms of the conditions. So I want to bring up a doctor who knows exactly what public housing residents are going through. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Jesse Fields.
Thank you, everyone. It's great and powerful to be here.
I'm Dr. Jesse Fields. I am a primary care physician in the Harlem community in the middle of Polo Grounds, Frederick Douglass, and many other Wrangell houses, which we are fighting back. I'm with the Committee for Independent Community Action. There's nothing more important for a person's health than their housing.
That's right.
Today's gathering is a demonstration of the fact that the residents, the people who live in Fulton, Elliott, Chelsea houses, do not agree to NYCHA's plan for demolition.
That's right.
The residents do not want their homes to be demolished. The survey that NYCHA talks about that they did, as was said nothing about demolition. It said nothing about market rate apartments coming in to the development. It said nothing about that. The residents were not part of any of these plans. There were no public housing residents or communities of public housing that were involved in the development of the RAD PAC plan or the trust. Those privatization plans came from our elected officials, from the federal government and the city and the state government. The residents do not want their homes to be destroyed. They do not want to be displaced. And this is exactly what will happen with this plan. It has happened in cities around the country through the RAD program and privatization. NYCHA representatives speak about the financial benefits to demolition under Section 18. That's what this is really all about, privatization. It's really about making money. It's not about delivering repairs and preserving public housing. They talk about the amount of money that can be collected by abandoning developments and letting the developments further deteriorate. There is an incentive to allow the deterioration of buildings and the suffering of the residents to take advantage of Section 18 and to procure a lot of money.
Shame!
That seems to be what is operative in privatization, what is operative in the demolition of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea. Intentionally letting buildings deteriorate so they have a lucrative path to demolishing them. It's unethical, it's harmful, it's immoral. We cannot allow it. We still have something in this city and nation, something called democracy. And we must renew that democracy. We must revitalize that democracy. We must change it, transform it, so the voices of the residents and the voices of the people and the voices of our communities determine public policy around housing, health, and everything else. And that is not the case. That is not the case now. Democracy is not about the demolition of people's homes. Democracy is about supporting the ordinary people. It's about support for ordinary people. Support for people to live, learn, and grow. Democracy means building community, not destroying community. We want elected officials who will help the community, who will support the community, not elected officials and not elected officials of color who are the means to facilitate the destruction of the community. We don't want those kinds of elected officials, and we want to change the process so we can remove them from office and have a really democratic process. We want all elected officials, including elected officials of color, who will stand up and support communities of color and people of color who are the majority of people who live in public housing.
That's right. That's right. That's why.
There's a severe that is right. That is why. That's when public housing was abandoned in the 50s and 60s when it became majority people of color. That's when the government started to abandon and take the subsidies out. There is a severe housing crisis in New York City and around the country, and homelessness is increasing. The housing crisis affects including people in public housing, including the people of our city, all of the city.
Are not decreasing.
So those who live in public housing can lead the fight in this city for decent housing for all. This is the cutting edge of the housing fight in our city. On behalf of the people, the residents, the people of our communities, on behalf of the young people, on behalf of the seniors,
Yes.
on behalf of the families and neighbors of public housing, we ask all New Yorkers to stop NYCHA from pushing out the poor. Stop NYCHA from doing these privatization plans. Stand up for all the people, including the poor, low-income people, including the people of public housing. We need the entire city to be here. We need the entire city to support public housing in this city. That matters. That will affect everybody in the city. It gives
Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!
This is the cutting edge of the housing crisis in this city. We can build a caring environment and decent housing for all people who live in New York City. If we protect public housing, we can protect decent housing for our communities. We have to protect housing for all of our neighbors and for all the people who live in public housing. Let's come together and take on this fight. This is about all of us. We have to unite across all the divides and stand together. First, led by the residents of public housing, supporting them and going forward, following their leadership to transform our process, to transform our policies. Let's stand together. Thank you.
I got two more speakers for you, so we gotta start wrapping it up. But before I bring my next speaker, I just want to remind us why we're here. Why City Hall? Why today? And why am I asking you to yell at the top of your lungs? Today, we are here because City Council is in this building. City Council is in this building having a conversation. But did they put public housing on the agenda? No. It's on the agenda now. We came here to force them to see us, to know that we will be in their face every single chance that we can get. We do not play with our homes. And another fierce warrior who has been doing this, who's a mentor of mine, who has been educating me on this fight, because when I tell you, we have been fighting for public housing for decades, I'm telling you, and this comes a little close because she's a young woman, but she has been fighting for quite some time and mentoring young organizers like myself to do this work. So without further ado, I give you Ms. Sandra Fulton.
Greetings, I'll be before you briefly. My name is Sandra Coleman. Thank you, Marquise. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I lived in Holmes Towers. I live in Isaac Houses now. Colleague over there, Lakeisha Taylor, wave your hand. One of the co-founders of the Holmes Isaac Coalition. We have received victory from fighting. From 2015 to 2019, the infill proposal came to us, and we stood up and we fought for 4 years, and we won. I want to just lay out some facts to you. NYCHA has low to moderate income.
That's right.
I want to make that clear. Everybody is different. It's a mixed bag. Low to moderate. Moderate means middle class. 30% of your income, no roommate needed. The only true affordable place to live in New York City is public housing. Another fact, on May 8th of 2023, City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams said NYCHA is land rich.
That's
When
right.
she said NYCHA is land rich, that's when they were looking at infill. That's when they were looking at the parking lots. That's when they were looking at the playground. And any piece of land they can get. It is not land rich. It was designed for us as tenants to walk, to play, to live in comfortability. How dare they look at what was already designed before them?
Dollar signs on our backs.
Yeah.
Dollar sign.
Now, do you know about the City of Yes? The City of Yes? There's a component in there for infill, which affects us too.
Yes.
Okay? There's a component in it. So we have to continue to fight, and there should be no buildings, no construction while this mayor is under investigation.
Not in my backyard.
Stop.
Not in my backyard.
Stop. There should be no more red and pack, no more contracts, no more deals. control. So I'm here also on behalf of the One NYCHA podcast, which Stan Moss is here, and One NYCHA Advocates. Stay strong, stay fight, get this information out, continue to support each other, because when one suffer, we all suffer.
Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! All right, now, because I know I'm going to lose you after the speaker, so I'm going to give you some instructions. We need to memorialize this day, because I got to tell you, I am one proud organizer because we are here and we are strong. So I want to make sure we get a good picture. So after this last speaker, please do not leave the steps. We're going to make this picture quick because I know we are over time. But it's important that we get this picture. And I want each of you to share it on social media and tag each other on it, okay? All right. So now, to put a little bit of pressure on my next speaker, she's going to try to kind of glue all of this stuff together that you can hear it today. Right? Because this next speaker comes from an organization that has been doing the work, has been doing the research, has been coaching the residents to put this program on today. She is a public housing resident herself. And her family. And she can tell you, both as someone who is working as an employee, but also someone who is fighting for their homes. What is going on, what we are doing, what we got planned. Thank you, ladies. Give it up for Christina Chase.
Good afternoon, I'm Christina Chase. As Marquis said, I work at Take Real Justice, but before that, and first and foremost, I'm a NYCHA resident. I've been living in NYCHA since the 90s. I live in Ravenswood for the past 20 years, where I'm part of the board. And it's quite clear that both as a resident leader and an organizer, that NYCHA has made clear to us that they are not in the business of giving us clean, safe, sanitary housing that's deeply affordable. Instead, they've made the decision to turn their backs on us and not give us the repairs we've been waiting on for decades. And instead, have us sacrifice our rights as Section 9 residents to have to sacrifice our robust rights to organize, to have funding for it, and most importantly, if we are unhappy with our management, to take it over ourselves. That's right. Yes! Take it over! And first and foremost, we are the epitome of social housing. And the 30% income is what gives us stability. There's nowhere like that. If I lose my job, I don't have to lose my housing. Because of that, we have over 25% average tenure in our family. We are able to build community. We are able to invest in our community. So whether it's building plants, whether it's feeding our people, our young people, whether it's just organizing our basketball tournaments, every single person. Most importantly, I can't forget about the environmental aspect of it.
Exactly.
We don't see housing the way NYCHA is. We don't have the landscape, the community, the trees. There are trees and developments that are older than me, and they deserve to stay there as much as our buildings. The proposal for Fulton is the demolition of not just the building, but of that land, and that's so important. It's a land grab. The proposal is to build more market rate units in our public housing. And that's important.
Hey, how's it going? I'm activist. Yeah, check it out. I've been working on this for 25 years.
And NYCHA and all these other alphabet letters. But we know it's not affordable. It's a point of access to housing. But how many people get to live there 5 years later?
Exacto.
Zero.
I know what it
And
is
it's
to
just
give the
displacing
garbage.
people, and it's codified into law. But that's why we're here today.
Yo,
to take the law,
all the tools I'm using right now, I got from the big store.
and to make sure that
It works
there's
with more
no
than
more
money.
conversions. And we're starting today with Fulton, Chelsea. Because a hurt to one is a hurt to all. And demolition to one building is demolition to all of them. We have to protect our public housing.
¡Bravo! Yes!
I mean, she could have wrapped it up. I could have wrapped it up any better. We got work to do. We're going to take a picture right now. So I want us all
Hey, Diane.
I would be afraid. I get it. I get it. Hope we can bring you back in.